merits. He has suffered on the Pro Tour this year, and this is an opportunity to put things right on the European stage. Max Hopp, though, you could argue the draw has been kind for him so far. He's yet to face a seeded player.
Max to throw first. Game on.
But he's facing one now. The number 10 seed Max Hopp up against the number 14 seed Simon Whitlock for a place in the final here at the Zenith in Munich, the German Darts Grand Prix, the second semi-final. Rob Malarkey in the chair for this one, and alongside me to steer you through the course of the first to 7 encounter, Paul Nicholson.
Well, the crowd have definitely upped their decibel level. I was just about to say because of that 180, but it didn't really change much because it was hit by the wrong person. Yeah, Simon knows what he's in for. He's played in front of many a German crowd. Not many times Simon is the unpopular one of the two, though. He's very well liked wherever he goes. Whether he plays in the United Kingdom, in continental Europe, or all around the world.
131.
This is only the second meeting between the pair, which is something of a surprise. They did meet in the European Tour before. That was in the Dutch Darts Masters in 2015. Second round encounter, and it was Whitlock who came through that day by 6 legs to 3 with an average of just over 95. Real similarities in terms of the tournament average these two have produced so far to get here, just around about the 92.5 barrier. So very little separating them as far as that particular bracket is concerned.
It's a big game for both of them, isn't it? Because Simon's looking to bolster what confidence he does have, and Max just wants to perform in front of this massive crowd and fly up those rankings a little bit more in the world rankings.
Just looking at Whitlock's averages this weekend, though, 92.9 against Reyes, 93.3 against Ross Smith, and 92.3 against Joe Cullen. Really consistent stuff. Very effective on his finishing today, in particular against Smith and Cullen. 6 from 11 in both. Some big checkouts along the way as well.
86, Simon Uruguay 52.
And Max up again, an average tournament average of 92 and some loose change.
Double 16 for the Wiz.
20.
Misses that he can't afford even at this
66.
stage. First to 7, of course. Crowd vocal. Treble 14. Yes, double 12. Needs to recalibrate for that one.
54.
Over-calibrated.
32.
Yeah, he was a long way outside, then a long way inside, and Whitlock once again looking at double 16 for this break of throw. It could be a 16, 17 or 18 dart break of throw. And it's a 17 dart break with double 8.
Good job that dart dipped at the end. Was going for double 11 until the very last 10%.
Keegan Brown, Kim Huybrechts and Karol Sedlacek, the victims of Max Hopp today. 6-5 against Sedlacek. Really good encounter between those two. 6 out of 8 on his doubles for Max Hopp. It was a good display of finishing, and it had to be as well in the end.
I think he was excellent against Kim Huybrechts, because it's not an easy game against Kim anywhere. No, Kim's not playing at a minute, but he's on the way back to something, I feel. And after his win against Wadey yesterday, I thought Kim would trouble Max today. He's on the way back to something, I feel. And after his win against Wadey yesterday, I thought Kim would trouble Max today. And the way that Max responded, I thought that was brilliant.
57.
Yeah, 5-1-8 is in that match as well. Really got the blood flowing, didn't it? And it got the crowd going.
Yeah, a 96 average in that match, did Max. There's a lot to admire about the performance. There's always a lot of ferocity in the throw. He got the weight of the dart really good in that match.
140.
Simon will be disappointed to get a 140 there. That was begging to be hit.
Well, we talked about Whitlock wanting to boost his Pro Tour Order of Merit ranking, and the same goes for Max. fires in that 180 just to get himself down to a manageable target of 124 on the Whitlock throw. Because he'll be involved in the qualifiers on Thursday. It's Tuesday tomorrow, so he's rather prudently decided to stick around.
Double eight. Oh, great finish from Hopp. Didn't really have to go the treble 16 route for double eight because of Simon on the 140. The prudent shot would have been 14 for Bull, but he showed that he's got confidence to get it done the other way. Fantastic.
Well, it may well be good news, this, for Diogo. It must help if you're rubbing shoulders with somebody who's going through a purple patch right now.
Yeah, Richard Ashdown, one of the guys who usually works backstage here, he's at every other event. He takes the mick out of me for the way I say it, Diogo. She'll be watching at home.
He seems to be everybody's friend, does Max, though. He's kindly giving Diogo a room this week, and as we heard in the previous match, he's a regular practice partner with Karol Sedlacek.
I don't think Keegan Brown likes Max at the minute. After what happened on Saturday,
they sorted that out last night, I heard, as well. So yeah,
that's what I like.
There was a bit of a hug and an exchange, so I think that's been smoothed over as well.
That's one thing about Max as well. He's very diplomatic. He's not one to want to have enemies. He's one to sort things out, and I like that.
Yeah, I always enjoy his company. He's a great kid, and he's a really nice personality. Very intelligent. Speaks 6 or 7 languages fairly confidently as well.
Well, what's he done this time? I know it was Spanish that he was doing last year. What's it this year?
Not sure. I'm doing the Spanish now as well, so no doubt Max will be far superior to me.
40.
I'd probably say that his English is better than mine.
Well, it's so good. He can do really good impressions of Stephen Bunting and Gary Anderson. He can do the accents, let alone speak the language. He's letting his darts do the talking right now, though. 2-1, Max Hopp leads.
Yeah, this is a jump up in class, I think, from the Sedlacek game. Not just because of who he's playing, but I really do feel that he's a bit more focused in this. He probably expected to beat Karol Sedlacek, but he is really throwing well in this game.
Yeah,
lots of 140s, 180s. He is really focused for this. He wants to take on MBG in front of this crowd, and that would be something.
That would be one heck of a spectacle, and it could well happen on the evidence of what we are seeing so far in this second semi-final. Max Hopp just seems to be flying right now. Look at the gulf between the averages, by the way. 84 and a bit for Whitlock, 109 for Max Hopp. 25 points there or thereabouts, although it has just concertinaed ever so slightly.
57.
Keep an eye on that.
Well, Dan mentioned earlier today that Max has had a couple of 110 averages in the last couple of weeks. So there is evidence to say that he can trouble the best in the world with averages like that. One of those 110 averages was against Glenn Durrant. This is a big shot coming up here for Max. Very doable 1-2-2. The crowd will erupt if he gets it. 4 18s.
Well, there's 3 of them. And there's the 4th.
97.
Can't find the red button.
76.
Now, Whitlock needs to be careful. He may go the treble here. No, he's just played it safe. Double top.
56.
See, that flight was in the way because his darts go really steep. I thought he might gamble on the treble there, but Hopp's going to do no gambling whatsoever. Double eight. Yeah, he's getting it.
Yeah, he's maintaining his standard on the finishing. And okay, he's missed the dart at a double, but what he's doing is taking the dart down on the visit, and that's the important thing.
I am a little bit jealous of Max, I'm not going to lie. In my career up to this point, I've never really had this kind of support. I don't know how it feels, but it must feel great.
108.
Well, he's certainly making the most of it. 180 for Whitlock, trying to get himself going once again. Hasn't gone beyond the last 16 on the Pro Tour so far this year. Just looking at Max's record, by and large, of course, he hasn't qualified for didn't qualify for the first 2 Euro Tour events of the year.
I forgot to enter.
41.
He just
He was
administrative error.
entitled to, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just those, the European tours. He actually forgot to enter some other ones as well. I think that's happened before. It's not an isolated incident.
40.
Yeah, didn't qualify is not quite the right term, is it? It's did not enter. Oversight. Administrative error. Call it what you will.
108.
It's another 180 from Simon Whitlock.
Look how close those points were together. That's why he has those darts. That's why he changed from the thicker dart to that. He wanted to score more 180s, and he really does.
100.
Well, 2 darts away from a break of throw here for Simon Whitlock, and it's much needed as well because Max Hopp is just beginning to motor. Tops he wants.
60.
Well, it's 1-2-1. It's Max Hopp. It's April. Surely.
Treble 17. Would have left the bullseye.
It's not as guaranteed as a 3 or 2 with Rob Cross. Tops for Whitlock. Right there. Get that quickly. That looks a bit wobbly. But then again, with those really long points, a lot of the darts he's thrown have got a bit of wobble in the board. That's a really good break back from Whitlock.
Yeah, 5 legs played. We've had 4 breaks of throw already.
108.
There are signs that Whitlock is starting to get his confidence back.
And that is his third 180 of the match. There have been 5 already between these two.
Well, if Whitlock was to get through this game to play MVG, it would be a 3rd Euro Tour final in a year. How many players have done that? Here comes Max. They all thought it was in. Yeah, with the rule changes, of course, with tour card holders like Max Hopp, like Martin Schindler, they don't have the cushion of home nation qualifiers anymore. So if Max wants to be assured of being in European tour events like this, he's going to have to stay seeded or go through European qualifiers, which are arguably a lot harder.
47.
It's easier to be a seed. Make sure you're playing on Saturdays or in Munich on Sundays.
Needs the treble, finds it, looking at the red button once again. And once again, he's not too far away. He's threatening that.
He's knocking on the door. He's getting closer. Touch the wire there.
Shanghai for Whitlock. And he's got the treble. Doesn't like the lie.
Doesn't know which way to go. He's got to throw this really hard.
Yeah, not helped. Maybe the fact that he just delayed it just allowed the crowd to get involved in that one. Had he just been a little bit more decisive, I know he had to make the move, but it just opened things up for the crowd to play their part once again. Double 8. Max up on double 8 this weekend. You know, that's one of the standout, noticeable elements, I think. He is really prolific, or has been really prolific in that corner of the board over the course of the last 2 days.
That's quality, that, isn't it? 12, 13, 15, 14. That is world-class darts.
Yeah, and that 12 was a break of throw as well. And the 15 was a break.
Yeah, that dart from Whitlock at tops for the Shanghai, because of the steep angle of the dart, I mentioned it earlier in the match, he wants a clear sight of tops. He wants to see an angle. So he's had to move all the way to the left. And the way he throws his darts, in order to get it two tops. He's got to throw it much higher or much harder.
60.
There's Pazzo on the right, follows Whitlock everywhere. Team Hopp on the left.
134.
Well, this leg is in the balance.
140.
Can't think of two players in the world right now in the top echelons of the game who throw a dart harder.
And Whitlock seems to really step it up on that third dart as well in terms of the pressure that he applies.
Yeah, when he gets two in the 60 like that, Simon's got the tendency sometimes to throw the dart on his tiptoes to get a tiny bit more height to guide it down the stem.
Look at how roughed up that treble 20 bed is, by the way, now.
I think I had a pretty good analogy for it last night when he was playing against
Reyes.
52.
It's almost like someone had bashed Hellraiser's face against it.
Well, a 158, it's a tricky one, and it's now an impossible one.
Where's he going to go for this 131?
Well, you never know with Whitlock. He does the unorthodox, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's gone for the 17s. He tried to trim it down to 80.
Yeah, I like that way. I like 51 for options. Gives you treble 16 for double or two double tops. But Hopp now. Is he looking at treble 14?
Well, he did. And he's now looking at double 16.
30.
Yeah, head in her hands. She can barely watch.
This is easier because you can see all of it. There we go.
Eight-legged Simon to throw first.
It's going to take his time. It's back on through this match.
Game on.
It's been a characteristic of the way Simon has played this weekend. He's been taking his time a lot more. Maybe in the past he's had a tendency just to rush things a little bit. He's taken a few more seconds and he's never been scared to reassess his approach.
Well, this is fast turning into a match where holds of throw could prove decisive. We've had 7 legs so far and we've had 6 breaks.
137.
They're the most frustrating matches as a player, because
As a player, especially for Hopp, because he's led 3-1 and 4-2, but he's not been able to extend that, to consolidate and to give himself that platform.
Yeah. I was once involved in a match. I lost 6-5 and there were 11 breaks of throw. Infuriating.
87.
Couldn't hold once. And then there are other times when there are 11 holds. It's a beautiful game, dart, because it's so unpredictable.
Yeah, you mentioned Whitlock on the verge of a third Euro Tour final in the space of, well, it was last June when he made the first of those 2, so that's, 10 months? So it could be 3 finals in 10 months. The first 2, he lost 8-3 to Sulevic in Denmark and then Price in Riese. Against Van Gerwen in Munich. Could it be 8-3 again? Well, we'll ask that question if and when he gets there.
Yeah, the Iceman's not here this weekend. He's at home making fruit crumbles, having time with the family. Hope you're watching, Gezi. Happy Easter, mate. See you next week in Saarbrücken. These guys don't care about Saarbrücken yet. Great setup from Whitlock, and he leaves. Well, we might as well call it the Max Hopp double.
134.
A little bit of pressure after those 2 trebles. Can't afford to miss. Oh, that's a good double, you know. It's an equaliser, and Whitlock is 4-4 with Hopp. The crowd hate that, and that's how you play the crowd. Exactly what Simon did there. He smiled at them.
And that's the first time in this match that Simon Whitlock has held his throw. And it's enough to get him on terms at 4 apiece. So 3 breaks each, 1 hold apiece.
96.
Similar to the game against Sedlacek, because Hopp took the lead and all of a sudden his opponent comes back at him, and the way he finished that game was just wowzer. Real composure. Like you mentioned, Rob, he's got great mental strength.
And whereas there was once, not too long ago, 22, 23 points in terms of the difference in the averages, it's anything but now. It's more like 5 or 6. That has just changed there. You see 98 plays 91. It's more like 97 plays 91 now.
140.
Well, all 3 people left in this tournament know everything about playing the extended format of the semi-finals and final, because they've all made finals. No 1-2-1 shot on the bullseye this time for Max.
57.
Out of the 3 people left in the tournament, only 2 of them have won with the elongated format. Simon's Euro Tour was a long time ago, but it was still best of 11
Max requires 64.
in the final. This one's first to 7. The final will be first to 8. Hopp's now got 16 tops. Darts are not going to the middle of the segments he's aiming for.
44.
One goes to the left and low. Whitlock, for another break of throw in this match, needs 65.
He's looking at the centre of the board. That's the 5 that he's got. And that leaves tops. Again, the purchase on the final dart. Maybe too aggressive, I think.
I was going to say, that was an excellent 20, because it was actually off-centre. It opened up the left side of the bed, but he went for the middle and flicked the flight. Double 10, gets him there, Hopp's back in the lead. And that double was very kind to him against Sedlacek. And if you look at the dartboard, double 8 and double 10 are the same height. It's almost like they say in penalties, isn't it? It's a good height for the keeper to save it. Well, maybe that's the optimum height for a double for Max Hopp.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for that, Paul. But that is a missed opportunity for Simon Whitlock. Missed dart at double 20 for a 5-4 lead. He finds himself 5-4 down. And I tell you what, this is a sloppy visit as well.
27.
Now then, just a little encouragement for Max Hopp once again. 55 the gap plus these.
Simon Whitlock needs to get himself together, and the clock is ticking. We're at the thick end of the game now. Hopp is kicking down the back straight. Whitlock is losing ground.
58.
Notice how Max is staying a matter of millimetres outside of that exclusion zone. It's almost like he's using the line of the exclusion zone as something to focus on when he's behind Simon Whitlock.
Well, he has to make his move in this leg, because Whitlock has put in visits of 58, 27 and 58 so far. He desperately needs a treble, and once again, he can't find one. That's 4 really substandard visits for Simon Whitlock. Hopp is down to a finish. It's a big one, but it doesn't have to go here and now.
Yeah, he should be past the 300 mark after a minimum of 9 darts. When you've thrown 12 and you're on 300, you know you've had a bad leg.
3 visits of 58 and a 27. At last he's found a treble.
He's going to have to go 3 legs on the spin to win this, as Whitlock, providing Hopp takes this 104 or the next visit.
84 away. Stayed there for double 12. That's okay. He will have another opportunity. That was a good third and final dart. Gets him down to that double 8.
It's almost like he wanted to hit treble 16 to leave double 8. Pressure's applied though. You never know in this game.
There is just a little bit of pressure here for Max Hopp, but you would fancy him to take this. Almost as sure as night follows day, Max Hopp finds double 8s. and he breaks in the all-important leg 10 in this case, it means he's throwing first for the match at 6-4.
Nod of respect from Whitlock. Earlier on today, there was a conversation had between all of the backstage crew about who's going to come through this bottom half of the draw.
96.
The last time we had that conversation was in Hamburg. Somebody asked me, and I said, I think Willie O'Connor's going to do it. At this rate, I might have to start selling these darting crystal balls.
60.
I said Max Hopp.
From the merchandise store. I'll have a word with him.
I think the producer, Robert, said Max Hopp as well.
133.
Well, my thinking was, I went for Hybrex. I was thinking whoever comes through that match,
I think
that's
that
the
was
one.
very, very
And
smart.
I went the wrong way.
The way things have panned out, though, if he had beaten Max, I think he would have got to this stage as well.
60.
Yeah.
It's not done yet, though.
64.
Whitlock looking at a 102 shot there. If he gets the treble 19, he scores 102 and leaves 170. That's good mathematics and good use of the board, but he didn't get there. And if Max can get one more treble, oh, that's unlucky.
Well, it means he's not down to a finish just yet, and it means also that Whitlock should get down to a finish first. What sort of finish it is remains to be seen. Loose second dart, recovers with the third. And it's a 2-dart combination for Simon Whitlock from there.
He's going to be under it. There's going to be some power behind this dart. Not enough.
So Simon Whitlock, treble 17 for double 16. And this time he finds the bullseye. Max Hopp has been trying his heart out on the bullseye today, hasn't found it, and Whitlock, when he needs it most, dead centre.
He's been so good in that bullseye. Today, against Ross Smith, he was just pinpoint on it.
140.
Whitlock still believes. I'm giving him the most amount of credit I could possibly give him right now, because most players may have just thought, you know what, it's not my semi-final. Whitlock hasn't stopped believing. This is where playing local stuff on Wednesdays in his area comes into its own, because it's really short format, cutthroat stuff. And this is what he's got to do now. He's got to win 2 straight. 1 hold, 1 break. Simple as that.
60.
And look at the contrast, a 140 and a ton for Whitlock so far, and he's in the money once again here. The contrast with leg 10, which was only 2 legs ago, is astonishing when he had that string of 58. And he's down to a finish after 9 darts, much more like it. Took him an eternity to get down to 300.
Well, from 3-4-1, would see MVG go to the 19s, because 3 of them would leave 170. And he actually did that in the first European Tour of the year. Didn't even think about the treble 18 there, Whitlock. That's brilliant leg management.
Yeah. Just stayed where he was comfortable and has left himself double 16.
Very similar to the Sedlacek game. Very similar. Hopp's going to have the darts in the last leg. If we get there. When we get there. Can he pull out another pearler of a leg to win this 7-6? Do not leave this. This is tense stuff. And this is a season-changing leg for whoever wins it.
Well, Max Hopp looked to be in a very good place, didn't he, when he went 6-4 up after that horrific leg for Simon Whitlock. But Whitlock breaking back with that finish on the bullseye for the 83 checkout. A fairly comfortable hold of throw, and all of a sudden it's a very different match, because Max Hopp has kicked off with a very nervy 57, whereas Whitlock is kicking off with a very, very confident and a very much needed Sun 80. That's absolutely astonishing.
Wow.
Damage has been done early on in this leg. We have seen 8 breaks of throw in this match, and we are on course already for a 9th, and it would mean Simon Whitlock advancing to the final to face Michael van Gerwen.
I saw a leg earlier in this match where Whitlock wasn't below 300 after 12. He couldn't find trebles. Well, in this very important last leg, Max Hopp hasn't got a treble with the first 6. Now he has. Now he's got a rangefinder. Only gets a ton. Advantage Whitlock.
Yeah, Whitlock's still in control of this despite that visit of 57 to follow the 180. Just the wrong side of the wire there as well. Hope springs eternal here for Max Hopp, you feel. Back upstairs.
54.
He's going 19s there and then hoping to get the treble. But going back up to the 60, would have left 170. Hopp needs 2 trebles to get this advantage back. There could be missed match starts at the end of this leg, but that is a great first start. Monstrous 140.
He is down to a finish first after all, despite that sloppy start. Whitlock, has he got anything left to respond with here? Yes, he has. There's your answer.
Actually, 145.
My word, I think we could be in a position where both players have match starts. I would not be at all surprised if that were to be the case. Who will blink first?
Hopp is not going to take the 145, so Whitlock should get 1 match start minimum.
105 away here. Thought he might look at the 19s to set up a possible 48. Yeah, that's exactly where he's gone.
Big dart that. Can Whitlock find a clean path to tops? Can he get the 60 for double 8?
Listen to
now
the
he needs
crowd.
25 and bull. Bullseye.
Not to be. And Max Hopp's approach play with his previous visit may well pay dividends. The treble 19 was sublime, and it should give him 2 darts at double 16 for the match. That's the easy bit. Deep breath for Germany's number 1. The hopes of a nation rest on the shoulders of the 22-year-old Max Hopp. They thought it was in, it's not. It's just an illusion. Sometimes the brain sees what the eyes want to see.
16.
This is not a gimme for Whitlock, this 25. And in a cruel twist of fate to Hopp, he may lose it on double 8.
Well, Whitlock is a seasoned campaigner. He's sampled this sort of thing before. I don't think he'll be too flustered by this at all. 2 bites at double 8s, and he only needs the 1. And the zenith is silenced somewhat by that. Simon Whitlock trailed 6-4, and he looked to be in all sorts of bother